My next guest, Britannia, spends countless hours on the internet obsessively looking up symptoms and diagnosing herself with various illnesses from throat cancer to a brain aneurysm. Now, she's convinced herself that she has had every disorder in the book, including MS, liver disease, and a heart attack, yet has never gone to a doctor for diagnosis. Take a look.
I wake up every day with anxiety about the thought of being ill. I don't ever feel like I'm fine. I always feel like there's gonna be something wrong with me. I always think to myself, is today your last day? If I'm having symptoms, I'll go on the internet, through my phone, my laptop. I mean, I can spend an hour to 2 hours looking it up. It's always at my fingertips, so I look it up anytime I have spare time. I've been stopped in traffic and looked through my phone just to get a quick question in. 2 weeks ago, I itched my neck and then I felt something. I was definitely sure it was throat cancer. I looked a lump on side of neck. The other morning I woke up, these 3 fingers were all like numb and tingly. I panicked. I told my fiance, this is a heart attack, and he's like, I doubt you're gonna have a heart attack. Then I thought, that's symptoms of MS. I also self-diagnosed myself with brain aneurysm, brain cancer, breast cancer, liver and kidney damage, tonsil cancer, gum cancer. Everything that's around this area has probably had cancer in my head at one point or another. I can't tell if it's just the anxiety that's making it worse or if the actual symptoms getting worse. I don't discuss this with anyone because I don't want people to think that girl is a lunatic, because I'm not.
Well, I have some good news.
Okay.
You're not a lunatic.
Awesome. That's good to know.
You're not crazy. You don't have some kind of psychosis. But what do you think when you see all of that on tape? You're kind of watching your life encapsulated. What do you think?
It's ridiculous, honestly. I can't even believe that I'm actually saying that because I'm not sick. But when I'm by myself and stressed out, that's when it seems real.
Okay, so do you consider yourself highly suggestible?
Absolutely. I can buy into that. If anything new comes out, and like the flu season is coming around, and if it's worse and I hear on the news all the symptoms and it's really bad this year, then I'm like, oh my God, and I start being afraid of the symptoms where I think sometimes I actually have the symptoms.
Here are the things that you've diagnosed yourself with. Brain cancer, throat cancer, oral cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, kidney failure, liver failure, multiple sclerosis, brain tumor aneurysm, heart attack, ulcer, breast cancer, and gum cancer. So if all of that were true, your head would fall off.
Yes. I know. It sounds
right here,
so
right?
silly. And that's what's frustrating, is I don't understand why I'm so afraid of unrealistic stuff.
But if you really believe it, why not go to a doctor?
I just figure if I walk into a doctor's office, it's going to be bad news.
All right, well, Britannia spent a lot of time at the doctor's office when she was younger, and she actually was diagnosed with a chronic illness. Now, Britannia's father, Kyle, had no idea this was just the beginning of her many health issues. Take a look.
When Britannia was about 7, she started experiencing pains in her knee. We were going to the doctor for close to a year before they finally were able to diagnose what the actual problem was.
I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and at that age, you don't understand the seriousness of illnesses.
She was getting so many blood tests and different treatment plans. It was not enjoyable to watch your daughter become a human pincushion. The situation was upsetting because it took much longer than what I was anticipating.
I took medication until I was about 16, and then around 22, I started getting pain in my back and my neck. They tested me for a different arthritis that is called ankylosing spondylitis, and they confirmed I had the gene. I now have a new arthritis that will never go away.
Well, I wanted some reinforcement. So joining us to talk about people that experience what Britannia has, who fall into the trap of this internet-fueled hypochondria, also called cyberchondria, is our really good friend, Dr. Freda Lewis Hall. She's the Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer. So please welcome Dr. Freda.
Okay.
So you've been listening. What do you think's going on here?
Well, let me start by saying this puts me in mind of many years ago when I was in medical school. We used to call our syndrome the medical student syndrome. Literally, we had everything in the book, and I mean the book, because it was pre-internet. And so it's not unusual, especially for someone like you, Britannia, that's had a childhood history of an illness, to be really vigilant about all the things that are happening with your body. The problem then becomes that you've got this vast internet and all this information that reinforces you, and it's never going to tell you the good stuff or the easy to fix stuff
No,
or
it's scary stuff.
Don't worry, sweetie, it's nothing stuff, right? So everything is going to be amplified.
Now, Britannia's father, Kyle, is here in the audience. And Kyle, what worries you most about what's going on with her?
What's real that bothers me and scares me is the stress she goes through, because she's freaking out. And so that stress level, I know it can't be healthy for her.
Now, is the stress level something that's kind of all the time, or do you mean when she starts thinking she's got a disease?
It's daily that she thinks she has something.
So
So
it's
it's
all
on
the
a daily basis, yeah.
So it's yes to both questions.
It may not be 24 hours a day, but when we're on the phone, it takes a good 15, 20 minutes to calm her down. And I know she's been stressed before she calls me.
Now, I guess one of my questions, though, is whether or not you have a healthcare team that can help you sort through this. I know you went to the doctor a lot when you were younger, but how about now?
No, I don't now. I haven't been to the doctors for about 5 years, maybe, when I was diagnosed with AS, and I haven't been back since. I tried to avoid it at all costs.
One of the things that can be helpful to you and to other people who are going through this is to make sure that you have a healthcare team that can help you with a baseline. So you want to make sure that you have a full team, your primary care physician, specialist if you think you need them, a nutritionist, whoever you need. Take everything that you know about you to them. Your medical history, all these symptoms that you have, take it all together in a digestible form, and let them give you a baseline. What would also help then is they can put a monitoring plan in place for you.
Okay.
These symptoms might be related to your ankylosing spondylitis, the lump in your neck, difficulty breathing. Those things are not uncommon, and you can tell us about them when you see us next. These things we might worry about, give us a call if they happen.
Okay.
These things, if they happen, call us right away. That may help you sort through some of the
online.
things that you look at.
Yeah, everything I come across online, they say, if you experience this, go to the next urgent care immediately. And I'm just like, if that were the case, I'd be there every day, So.
I'm a real big one that you have to deal with things in the appropriate way. You deal with psychological things psychologically. You deal with medical things medically. You deal with nutritional things nutritionally. Where you start crossing over sometimes is where you can get in trouble. If you are experiencing anxiety, for example, stress and anxiety, and your father says that you get really tense, and you said that's when you are the worst about this. You start stressing about it. So you have to start dealing with what's underlying the stress and the anxiety. You've got to pick up a skill set, not just an anxiety pill, but a skill set for coping with stress in your day, managing your anxiety going forward, and doing some of the things that will lessen that, which will make you much less likely to go into this. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Doc, what do you think here?
The idea of using the internet, which can be very enabling to people, it can also be, in your case, very disabling.
Yeah.
So there may be some things that you can do just around these internet searches that would help.
Okay.
So for starters, identify a few really trusted websites that you would start your search with. The CDC site, the Center for Disease Control, or the National Institutes of Health. Get started with those. These are credible sites that you can learn to trust. Set some limits about how much time or how many sites you're actually going to search on.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you say, I'm only going to do 3 sites, or I'm only going to do 15 minutes. Then maybe you could enlist someone to help you. You also want to make sure if you want information about medications that you go to the FDA's website or to the manufacturer's website for the most complete information. Okay. And then, of course, last and absolutely not least is you want to make sure that even if you start with the internet, you don't stop with the internet. That you make sure that you confirm these or get objective help for someone else who knows. So you can start with the internet, but don't stop there. Always get help. And of course, if you want more information on Cyberchondria or you want to get more information on other health topics, you can go to gethealthystayhealthy.com.
Okay.
It's another place for some good information.
Yeah, and you said something to me earlier that I thought was a really, really good idea, and that was to make a list of your symptoms before you start the search, so you don't add to it just based on what you read.
Right, that's a big problem. that I've
And
had.
what you said is that you do get caught up in that. So you say, I'm going to check for a headache, and they say, well, what if you also have blurred vision? And you were thinking, now that I think about it, I think my vision was blurred. So
That
you
totally
want to,
happened this
yes.
time.
So you want to write down everything that you think you have. That way you don't get sucked into that doom loop
Okay.
of, oh yes, I have that. Oh no, and I have that, and I have that too.
What I want to do is follow Dr. Freda's suggestions
Okay.
and start putting together a healthcare team for you. I want to get you someone that will specialize in giving you some specific skills for handling stress and anxiety. I want to start with that and then build on it from that point, because I think when you learn how to recognize, monitor, and alleviate those, things are going to get a whole lot better. So
Thank you.
I'm going to make that just our gift to you, and,
Thank
and
you
we'll
so
start
much.
with that arrangement. So, Dr. Freda, thank you for being here.
As always, a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
As always, thank you.
And once again, thanks to Pfizer for taking the time to educate people about stuff like this. For more information on today's show, you can visit drphil.com. And say the website one more time.
GetHealthyStayHealthy.com.
GetHealthyStayHealthy.com. Two great places to go. We'll see you next time.